was recently tagged in an Instagram post, of all places, by someone whose friend was looking for advice on offshoring their investment. And they had a very problematic approach that I'm going to share with you today. So I was tagged in an Instagram post, of all places, recently by someone who was suggesting that I help his friend offshore his cryptocurrency. But what I saw when I looked a little closer made me very concerned that this person was taking exactly the wrong approach. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson, and in this Instagram post, a gentleman had tagged, it was his friend who posted it. This guy said, hey, Nomad Capitalist, he can help. I said, okay, I get a little notification, I'm going through my phone, I'm half asleep, I'm reading this post. And then I go through this person, he's trying to basically offshore his Bitcoin. He has Bitcoin investments, he wants to move them offshore because he's paying 45% tax. And he says, I don't want to pay this much tax. So, okay, the first person comments, he says, okay, Nomad Capitalist, excellent. Then I keep going, and I see some of the other suggestions from other people. The other suggestions seem to revolve a lot around setting up an offshore company. I think they recommended the Caymans, for I'm not sure what exactly the reason was, but setting up that Cayman Islands company, this example, moving the cryptocurrency assets. And they said, well, you don't have to pay tax in the high tax country where you're living until you repatriate the money, until you bring the money back. So the idea is, okay, you move this asset, whether it's a business, whether it's a cryptocurrency, whether it's stock, bond, whatever, you move that to a foreign company. You let it accumulate profits every year, years and years and years go by, the value goes up, trading profits are made, income is derived, what have you. You leave it sitting there in the Cayman Islands company, in that company's bank account, and only when you bring it back to Canada, Australia, wherever, is that when you pay tax. And in the meantime, they suggested, hey, well, then you can figure out your strategy of where you're going to live, and by the time you take the money out, you can find a way to not pay. This is a really bad idea. There are a lot of laws, and we won't get into all of them, but there's one particular law in this guy's country where it's the Controlled Foreign Corporation law, where they say, hey, you're managing this company from our shores. So every year we want to know what's happening in that company. We want you to report what's happening in that company, and since you're living here, you're going to pay our tax on that company. Now, if you have a company in another country where they tax part of it, maybe you get a tax credit, maybe there's a tax treaty, not in the Cayman Islands, but maybe there's some things to work out. But the bottom line is you're not going to save that tax if you're living in a high tax country. You're going to pay just as much tax to whomever it may be. In this case, again, you'll pay 0 in the Caymans, you'll pay 45% over here. But you're not going to save anything. Now, we made a video here on our channel, you can check it out, which is called Legitimate Reasons to Have a Foreign Company. Nothing wrong with having a foreign company, we do it all the time. There are other benefits. If you're in the crypto space, maybe that foreign company gives you better access to trading or to certain opportunities that your country won't allow you to through their legal structures. Maybe you're looking for certain asset protection benefits. There are plenty of legitimate reasons to use a company overseas that's not tax related. But the idea of simply moving your asset and that there's going to be no tax on migrating that asset, that you just let it sit there and it's tax-free and you can just sit in your high-tax country and never pay anything and not tell anybody. It makes me think of back in the 70s and the 80s when people were talking about the Swiss bank account, the numbered bank account. Those days are over. And that stuff was always illegal. The only difference is now that it's a lot easier to get caught. Okay? So I'm never going to recommend that someone do an illegal strategy. What was suggested in this post, though, and I distanced myself. I just said, okay, well, if the guy comes to me, we'll help him. We'll do it properly. If he wants to follow the easy advice that is not going to work, that's fine too. But what basically the thread was, nobody's really going to know. How are they going to find out? And I think that this is what I see when people come into the offshore world. They think, well, hey, who's going to figure it out? I can tell you that with FATCA, with CRS, with all kinds of information sharing, the world is getting much more connected. It's much more transparent. it's very easy for the government to find out, and we see cases where the government often does find out and people get in trouble. The purpose of setting up a legal tax reduction strategy is to protect yourself. People come to me and say, hey, Andrew, I want to cross all the I's, or the T's, dot all the I's. And I have to make sure that we're doing things in a way that they're not going to have a problem 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where they get that knock on the door and someone says, oh, we figured out what you did, and by the way, now you've got to pay us all this back tax. You may not be abducted like the movie star from China was and forced to make a statement and pay a bunch of back tax to avoid jail, but they're going to find out eventually. The idea of let's hope that they don't find out is not a strategy. It's not going to protect you because it's only going to lead to increasing your costs in the future. When it comes to migrating your assets, whether it's a business, an investment, crypto, whatever, there's you, and then there's the company, and then there's the actual investment. It's always the two. We talk about this in all of our videos. You have to deal with the personal part. If you're sitting in a high tax country, that's going to be a problem. So where you move the asset, just migrating the asset, assuming that there's no tax on moving it out, that's not realistic. And the advice that I see so often, not even in this particular post, but the advice that I see so often about people who just take the easy way. How difficult can it be, they say. This stuff is difficult. There is a lot of nuance. It's many different factors that have to add up in a holistic plan. I always get very scared when I see people saying, come on, you just move it, you just do this one thing and it's done, don't worry again. It's nonsense. And if you think that there's only one thing to do as part of a legal tax reduction strategy, then someone has either ill-informed you with out-of-date information or they're actively trying to deceive you. Make sure you do it properly. Always make sure that you and your structure are legally set up so that you don't fall for the same trap of thinking that if only I don't bring back my money from the offshore company, I can defer tax indefinitely, because that's not how it works.
I'm Andrew Henderson, and if you're looking for a way to legally reduce your taxes, build your freedom, and create wealth faster as a global citizen, then you've come to the right place. I want you to do 3 things right now. Number 1, click the button to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to get notifications so you never miss a new video. Number 2, get a copy of our #1 best-selling book, Nomad Capitalist, on Amazon and learn all of the dozens of benefits of our lifestyle. And number 3, if you're